that's moderate to high end. Your Ralph Lauren, Ann Taylor, Gucci, Coach, folks like that, Cole Haan, and so folks can go there and shop. As a result, there are 3.2+ million visitors a year to this little town in Maine, and the retail sales per square foot are among the highest in New England. This includes Boston, folks. It's also in New England, and there are times when sales in Freeport exceed per square foot other areas in New England. So it's a vibrant center. LLB did a joint venture with a developer to create the Freeport Station. Now, I don't have a picture, but the station is finished, and it is occupied. And it is a thriving center with restaurants and stores. And the idea is that this is a block from where the actual Amtrak stop will be in Freeport. Even before the train expansion has begun, economic growth and development is taking place in anticipation of the train arriving. And these folks, I can tell you that if you think that you've seen conservatism until you've dealt with a Mainer, particularly an L.L. Bean Mainer, L.L. Leon Gorman, you haven't really dealt with conservatism. These folks don't spend money unless they think they're going to get something back for it. That's very, very key to them. So this is up and it is running. And in Brunswick is the home of Bowdoin College, one of a highly regarded school. It's also an area that's become an increasingly popular retirement destination. It's in Mid-Coast, Maine, wonderful medical facilities, easy travel facilities. And it's also the site of the Brunswick Naval Air Station, which, if you remember the movie The Hunt for Red October, where the squadron of planes lived that patrolled the East Coast to watch out for Russian submarines. Well, our defense strategy has changed, so the Brunswick Naval Air Station has been closed. The squadron left. And so now we have a 6,000 acre parcel that's now ripe for development. And the town of Brunswick is working on how should this be developed, what opportunities are there. So one of the opportunities they wanted to do was to bring the train to Brunswick to complement that. So this construction project is underway. Now, I mentioned before that we specialize in the adaptive reuse of buildings. And one of the core things that drives us, the National Trust forecasts that by the year 2025, that 50% of all the buildings in this country will have been built since the year 2000. That's an incredible statistic, but if you look around towns, I've been looking around the towns of Columbus and Dayton and Springfield, you can see those shifts, you can see those changes. The other thing that's going to happen in the same period of time is that 85 billion square feet of existing space will be demolished. Now, what this means is that in this period of time, we have gotten rid of a lot of our national heritage, architectural, cultural remnants. The complexion of our cities and towns does not look and will not look the way that it is now or did before. In Columbus, Jack took me by a development where the old prison was and showed me the remnant of the train station from Columbus. Just one little 20-foot long piece left. Well, from my standpoint, I don't know about yours, there is a lot of value in the historical context of the architecture that we've had in this country. And we believe that there are things that can be done to existing buildings, given that their bones are strong enough to turn them into something else. So when we look at this deal, one of the things that we looked at was using the historic tax credits that are available from the federal government, and in the state of Maine, the state has a refundable historic tax credits. So the combination of both allow you to get a credit of up to 25% of the qualified reimbursable expenses that you incur in a project. Well, at the end of the day, those are huge because they include soft costs, hard costs, material, and so forth. The other thing that we did with the city of Saco, I already talked about the partnership that we had with purchasing the property. We also convinced the city of Saco, got them to agree to a TIF, a credit enhancement tax increment financed a TIF, and the arrangement with them was the largest the state of Maine had ever seen. So our TIF arrangement with the town of Saco is that for 30 years, or until we reach the value of $35 million, we get back 95% of all of the taxes that are assessed on residential properties that we create on the island. Now, that was a significant piece for us in terms of the economics of doing this deal, because if you do a greenfield development, it's expensive. If you do a renovation or a rehabilitation of a 220-year-old series of textile mills, underneath which all of them have canals, penstocks, waterways that move the water from the river shore in through the buildings to drive the wheels that turn the belts, that turn the wheels that made the cloth. All of those still exist. So our costs are huge to renovate these buildings, so we needed some help. This is not a project that you take to the Fifth Third and ask for some financing on. They will not support it. So the deal economics include the tax credits, they included the TIF. We have some significant investors who participated in this. And then, of course, part of it is generating some revenue with office leases, and so we have some return on that. We did an assessment of our risks and rewards, balancing everything out. And the key things that we focused on are, one, design. When you do a project like this, you really need not only to take into consideration the existing design and architecture of the building and do a renovation that complements it, but you also have to take into consideration the kinds of ways that people use buildings. You have to take ADA into consideration. You have to take in efficient ways to heat it, cool it, light it. Access is important. And so all of that's important. When you have a larger scale complex, you want to do things that complement the structure, but also complement the community. You don't want to stick up something that's a glaring anomaly in the midst of the community. So all of those things are important. So these are renderings of the work that we are doing on the island. The two buildings in the lower right-hand corner have been completely renovated. We removed about a 4-acre piece of parking deck. We chewed it all up. We're using part of it as a base for roads and parking on the other side. And then part of it we used to pump into some existing penstocks and canals that were running underneath the long portion of that building to provide more structural integrity to the floor underneath. So we reused all of that. We didn't toss it in the landfill. We're going to invest $100 million in this. In the lower left, you see the rendering of the station. On the right is what we call building number 4. Half of the building to your left will be 50 two-bedroom living units. Initially, they will be apartments that will allow us to take full advantage of the historic tax credits, and then after a 5-year period, we will sell them market them as condominiums. This was a decision that we made. Initially, we were going to sell them, but as we all realized, the real estate market in the last year has not been very productive, and so we decided there's a higher demand for apartments now. We will put apartments in that building. And the other half of the building, about 80,000 square feet, will be commercial office space. This is high-end space. It will lease out at a rate of $16 to $19 per square foot. Well, I'm not familiar with the rates here in Springfield, but this is a high triple net rate and higher than what is average in the town of Saco and in the surrounding area. But we are getting it, we've already renovated one building, the building behind it. We are able to get that because we have renovated the building to a high degree of repair with exposed brick walls, exposed beams and ceilings. You've got 10 to 14-foot ceilings. You've got old rock maple floors that have been sanded down and converted. So the quality of the design makes a lot of sense. The icing on our cake is this parcel here. This will allow us to build 30 townhomes, all of sustainable, LEED-directed, governed design, that will primarily be targeted to professionals, higher income families, and we also are planning to build a structure to the left of the houses that will be multi-story with retail on the ground floor, probably a restaurant or some business affiliated with